Last year, Charlotte Caldwell was told her son might have only 6 months to live.
Couldn't believe it. We were just bringing him home to die.
Billy suffers from intractable epilepsy. His next seizure could kill him.
It's actually an appalling situation for a mother to find herself in.
I had waited 20 years for a wee brother, and you just weren't going to give it up like that.
But this 2.5-year-old boy has outlived his bleak prognosis.
It went bright red like a tomato all over, and they were sort of ripping his clothes off him in the ambulance, and Billy then was jerking, and staring and doing all the things that were displaying that it was an epileptic seizure he was having. But he was on that one for about 6.5 hours. The consultants and the doctors were really working hard to bring him out of it, but it was 6.5 hours before he actually came out of it. So
it was just after 4 months was when I went into hospital ill, so it was, and it was just it was hard to take because of the fact was that everything was so good, and then it just all went completely from one thing, completely threw it back in my face, and it was just, I didn't like it at all.
Billy was taken to the Royal Belfast Hospital for Sick Children in December 2005. Detailed tests were carried out and numerous drugs were prescribed, but medical staff couldn't control his severe form of epilepsy. And during his 3-month stay, Billy's seizures worsened.
I remember once describing it as if it was nearly as if Billy was possessed by something. That's how I seen it, as if there was like some sort of spirit or something there. And when they hit hit him or hit his brain, the brain activity with a new drug, it would sort of stop it, but then it would sort of find a way around it, and come back, and it would just be, even worse. The consultants' words and the word from the doctors was that they had exhausted all avenues of treatment for Billy within the UK and the EU, and there was nowhere available in the world, because I had said America, there was nowhere, and just to take him home.
But Charlotte refused to give up.
He was starting then to learn wee things, and I could see there was a little boy in there, just dying to get out. So I just used to just bathe him and nurse him and massage him. Medical professional sitting in front of me telling me that they could help Billy, or that they were just, even the fact he was saying they were going to try and help him was absolutely amazing, after being told to give him morphine to end his life, after him being sent home to die, and many discussions around them trying to get me to do all of this, and then donate his brain to research. So it was just huge, absolutely fantastic. So Dr Nordli decided the first thing he wanted to do was start weaning Billy off all his medication, apart from one. And Billy was already at that time on a ketogenic diet, which is a diet which is high in fat and low in carbohydrate, to help, a lot of kids, it works to help control their seizures. So in that first week with Dr Nordli that we were doing all the tests, we also had a consultation with a ketogenic dietitian, and when she looked at the diet that the Royal Victoria Hospital had Billy on, she actually discovered that the ratio that they had him on was totally wrong, and it wasn't going to help his seizures, and that's why it wasn't helping his seizures along with all the epilepsy drugs that they had him on. So they changed the ratio on his diet, basically just tweaked it, and they started to wean him off all the meds that he was on apart from one. And after they started to wean the meds, for the first 16 weeks after that, Billy didn't have one seizure.
You were there for a couple of years.
Yeah, once Billy got to the stage where he was 16 weeks seizure free, Dr Nordli then said, right, at that stage Billy was nearly, he was about 2 years old and 4 months old. And Billy was sitting in his buggy completely depleted. He couldn't hold his own head up. He couldn't pick up a toy, he couldn't pick up his cup. He was just completely depleted from the amount of seizures that he had, and also the cocktail of drugs that he was on. So he was completely disabled. So Dr Nordli said, let's now get him into intense physiotherapy, and let's see what we can tease out of him. So he recommended an intense physiotherapy centre called Pathways in Chicago, and I took Billy there and got him into an intense physiotherapy programme. Billy had 20 hours of physiotherapy a week, 4 hours a day, 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon, 5 days a week. Just like what Dr Nordli had taught me was that this intense physiotherapy should be thought of like teaching, it was to teach Billy the basics, which was to hold his own head, sit, crawl, stand, walk, pick up a cup, pick up a toy, just the real basics of life. It was to teach him, and the way he put it to me was, if you have like a runner training for a marathon or a boxer training for a big fight, they train every day. So that's what was applied to Billy. He was trained every day just to learn the basics of life.
Still there. Don't cry in your pillow. Please know that I care. Don't wallow in pity. This life's too short. We'll burn down this city. We'll go and get lost. Don't you know you're my baby, and I need you always. Without you I'd go crazy, 'cause you're my guiding light.
Billy, seizure free, remained seizure free. Well, the seizures went into remission really for about 8 years. Enjoyed a great wee life, going to school, beach, loves the beach, horse riding, swimming, loads of outdoor activities. He's just a great outdoor boy, loves outdoors.
Simple life for me. All I need. All I need.
And then in June 2016, I just woke up suddenly one night and Billy was in a seizure, having a seizure, and the seizures had returned. He took one, and then like 2 days later he had another one, and then the next day he had another one, and they escalated up into him having up to 9 per week. Billy is a status epileptic, so when he goes into the seizure as well, he can't come back out. I have to go in like with a rescue med to stop the seizure and put oxygen on him. Again, to get him to LA, so we launched Keep Billy Alive again, got it out, his story again out into the papers, and at this stage I'm just feeling absolutely let down, disappointed, gutted, because before I actually decided then to launch another fundraising campaign, I really thought about it, and I was like, there's nothing else left. What am I going to do? You know, I have to raise money now to get him to Los Angeles. It was the only thing that was left, the only option left open for Billy. Dr Nordli, when he got all Billy's results together and he looked at the actual results, the options for Billy were to have brain surgery because of where the lesion was placed, but that would mean removing the left temporal lobe because of the position of the lesion, and your left temporal lobe controls your speech and memory. So he decided to try and save Billy's speech and memory, which I thought was absolutely fantastic, and he decided to start him on CBD. So he, first of all, to try and get better control of the seizures, and secondly, to see if it was a possibility of shrinking the lesion to the extent where they could go on maybe and do laser surgery, which would be saving his left temporal lobe, but also it's a less invasive form of brain surgery. It's still brain surgery, which is, you know, hard on any wee child, but the laser surgery would be less invasive than, you know, the other forms of brain surgery. So he started him on the CBD, and as soon as Billy started a whole plant extract, and Billy was on it the first 26 days he was on it, his seizures reduced from, he was having about 24 seizures a month, so his seizures reduced from 24 a month to 5. And that was on the first 26 days he was on it. And then he carried on like that for about, he was on the CBD about 8 weeks. And then they decided then to add a little bit of THC, because the THC component is very good with controlling seizures as well, and the you know, shrinking tumours, etc. There's a lot of confusion around the CBD and THC. You know, you can buy hemp oil that in scientific research that hasn't been shown to, you know, sort of help in the treatment of seizures very well. It's more the whole plant extract of the CBD that has been known to work really well in the treatment of seizures. But again, you know, for some children it doesn't work, and for some kids it does work, where they have a great reduction or some reduction in the seizures, and for some children they will be seizure free on it. But as I said, I'm not declaring in any way, you know, that it's a cure, but it should be a treatment option for children with, like Billy, with intractable epilepsy, like it's drug-resistant epilepsy, that have tried numerous different pharmaceutical drugs. Some of the drugs that Billy has been on, the side effects of those drugs have actually been worse than his seizures. So the CBD with the THC, you know, what's really important about it is that it's tinkered, and it's just, you know, you do it slowly. You add the THC very, very slowly. Whole plant extract and the THC. I'm not by any means declaring that it's a cure for epilepsy or for any other condition, but it is another treatment option for people who have like severe conditions like Billy's intractable epilepsy. We obviously were in Los Angeles when Billy started this treatment, and we needed to come home at some point, but medicinal cannabis is illegal in our country. So I had been searching on the internet and trying to contact or find a doctor within Ireland that had, you know, would support medicinal cannabis. I had to get Billy home to relieve some of the financial burden from us. We had to come home. So when GreenLight contacted me and said they had the supplement procured, that they could supply Billy with his CBD and THC. But I had to bring the CBD, THC through with me on the journey from Los Angeles to Ireland. I had to bring it through the airport because Billy needed the CBD, THC on the journey. CBD reduced Billy's seizures to a point where he's 42 days seizure free today. It's actually changed him as a little boy as well. I don't think I ever, like, Billy's been living with me for 11 years and I've been his mummy for 11 years. But I can honestly think that I didn't even really know Billy, because what I'm seeing now is a wee personality emerging, you know, coming out of him. He's got more boisterous, he's got a wee bit more cheeky, you know, just like, I suppose, like a normal wee 11-year-old would be. Better eye contact, more balanced, standing more upright, more strength, engaging more in his books. I think what CBD, THC has done for me and Billy, I think for me as a mummy, it has given me back my right as a mummy to hope. But most importantly, I think it has given Billy back his right to life.